Uhuru, brothers and sisters. My name is Alex Morley. Welcome to Beyond the Boundaries, the show where we bring you news from the African nation and from the international socialist movement. Uhuru, brothers and sisters. My name is Alex Morley. I'm the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party in the Bahamas, and I also head up the front for the African Socialist International in this region. Brothers and sisters, just a couple of reports that I want to talk about today. The first thing, revolutionary greetings to all of my brothers and sisters who are taking part in the march and rally in Washington, D.C. as we speak right now. Uh, Turning imperialist wars into wars against imperialism, for sure. Brothers and sisters, I just want you to know that the struggle continues in the Bahamas. We are continuing to pay. We will continue to play our part in overturning this social system and creating a one African nation. And I just want you to know that we stand in solidarity uh, with the brothers and sisters who are part of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. Uh, Haiti, Haiti is still here, brothers and sisters. France has still not repaid Haiti. Uh, Venezuela is under an unjust economic blockade. Cuba is under an unjust economic blockade, and the Bahamas, Africans in the Bahamas are still not getting. We are still not in control of this economy. Foreign imperialism still dominates this country, this location. Uh, and we are still struggling to overturn the system. You know, the workers and the poor people. And we want you to know that we stand in solidarity with the work that you are doing in that coalition and all of the organizations. Uh, we will do our work that we need to do so that we can be there with you on the next occasion. And we just want you to know that Uhuru, one Africa, one nation, and the Caribbean and South America, we still struggling to overturn the system, and we appreciate you standing up for us in the center of imperialism. So Uhuru, one Africa, one nation. Uh, Secondly, brothers and sisters, revolutionary greetings and salutations to all of my Rastafarian brothers and sisters out there who have been celebrating the coronation during yesterday and during this period. Uhuru, one Africa, one nation. Yuhu to the brothers and sisters in the house of Rastafari, which is a coalition right here in Nassau, Bahamas. I just want to say Yuhu to those brothers and sisters as well. Uhuru, one Africa, one nation. Brothers and sisters, gonna talk. There's a story on the burdenspare.com that I found interesting, and I just want to read a little bit about that. And I would ask you to go on the burdenspare.com and check it out. It says the title of the story is Oklahoma students targeted for resisting anti-African head wrap dress code policy, and it's on the burdenspare.com. And it says, high school seniors Delaney says, and Isabella Izzy Miller and Junior Avon Brown have been protesting Oklahoma's Bing School District anti-African head wrap dress code policy since their sophomore year. Bing, Oklahoma, is a town of about 1,500 residents, of which less than 2% of the population are African, black, 75% are white, 16% are native, and 6% are of other nationalities. This is reflected in the political leadership of the town and in the makeup of Bing's five-member white Board of Education. In February 2018, the students began wearing African style head wraps to express themselves culturally. On the first occasion, Delaney was targeted by Principal Michael Tomas, who called her into his office to ask her What is that thing on your head? After educating him on its cultural significance, Delaney was instructed to take it off because it's basically a hat. She refused and was cautioned that she would only be allowed to wear the head wrap for the first for the rest of the day. Instead, she and Izzy wore their head wraps for the rest of the school year. In August 2018, at the start of the new school year, Delaney and Izzy's junior year, they both continued, they both decided to continue wearing their African style head wraps. The new school principal, Trent Miller, followed his predecessor in singling out the girls for their choice to wear the head wraps. He secured legal counsel to protect the interests of the school against the growing pressure the girls were putting on him to explain the subjective, anti African nature of the district's dress code policies. After getting nowhere with the principal, the girls requested to speak to the Board of Education and Superintendent. However, their requests were repeatedly ignored. In August 2019, the start of the new school year, Delaney and Izzy's senior year, the girls continued to wear head wraps. Once again, Delaney was called into the principal office, but this time she was threatened with in-school detention (ISD) if she didn't comply. Intimidated, intimidated, Delaney chose to adjust her head wrap into a headband. Just a few days later, Delaney and Izzy, under threat of ISD, decided that they would wear their head wraps anyway. True to form, they were stopped by Principal Trent Miller, who told them to take their head wraps off, to which Delaney answered, "We are going to keep them on because it's a part of who we are and where we come from." As a result, Delaney and Izzy were given ISD and put into a room where they were grouped with students who were considered delinquent because they wrote on the walls and started fights with people, according to Delaney. A few days later, on August 27th, Delaney, Izzy, and Avant were called in to meet with Superintendent Todd Crabtree, Vice Superintendent Kevin Wilson, and a board member, Stacy Capps. The administrators could not justify why African cultural wear was banned and other cultural attire like native cultural wear in particular was allowed. Superintendent Todd Crabtree went as far as mentioning safety concerns and stating that clothing have gotten people killed. Needless to say, nothing was accomplished in the meeting, leading the students to request another meeting with the superintendent. This did not sit well with the students, who felt that the cultural expression should be allowed, if one is allowed, and believe that Bing should be a place where diversity is valued and not shunned, and that fighting for head wraps is a stepping stone for our fight for all ethnic groups slash cultures to be represented equally. Hitting a brick wall with school administrators, Izzy and Delaney reached out to the African National Women's Association, ANWO, whose student organizers led a dynamic viral campaign with the 2016 struggle against Pinellas County Gibbs High School anti-African dress code policy called hashtag Black Girls Rap Wednesday. The campaign was picked up by national and international news outlets such as Mike, France 24, and The Observers. African women all over the US united with the struggle and wore head wraps every Wednesday and posted to social media in solidarity. This campaign finally gave African students a voice and allowed them to celebrate themselves in a way that school dress codes nationwide resist. The goal, then, as it is now, is to change the dress code policy nationwide. Similar to Gibbs High School, the administrators at Bing cited safety concerns as one of the reasons they wouldn't consider changing school policy. The students are now taking this struggle to the community instead of keeping it contained with school administrators. School dress codes are rooted in capitalist exploitation and colonial oppression. The students believe that the dress code is historically racist and that schools like Bing have to stop holding on to prejudiced dress codes that put a stint on cultural expression. School districts around the country continue to use safety concerns when it comes to clothing items like the head wrap, clinging to the fearful mindset people had back then and even now of ethnic minorities, according to Delaney. She believes that the use of the term safety concerns by school districts is an excuse for continuing cultural assimilation and repression of our culture, masked as a dress code. The reality is that this land was colonized by European settlers who used African slave labor to amass wealth, laying the foundation of capitalist development. This bolstered U.S. colonial expansion, which led to the near extinction of indigenous groups. During the U.S. government's ongoing colonial assault against the indigenous populations, they kidnapped indigenous children from their communities and put them in native schools as a way to assimilate them into white colonial culture. At the turn of the 20th century, when education was becoming public in the U.S., these same methods of whitewashing were used to wage a serious assault against the cultural identity of all non-white groups. Schools created under colonialism served the interests of the white ruling class colonializers. It is a propaganda system that upholds white power and serves to categorize colonized people as other, excluding us from normal cultural and historical representation. Delaney is clear that this issue has a deeper and more sinister reasoning than the school districts want to admit, and doesn't believe that it is an exaggeration, but instead it is a scary and sad reality. All over the U.S., African students are criminalized in schools for hair and clothing choices that celebrate and validate who they are culturally. As more and more young Africans embrace their cultural identity, they are seeking ways to display their pride, but anti-African sentiment disguised as policy often make cultural expression a punishable offense. Despite the state's Cherokee Choctaw name and the Osage Nation and the Choctaw state flag, Oklahoma is mostly inhabited by white settlers who lived on the pedestal of violence and oppression waged against the indigenous groups that populated the area. Let's also not forget that the first internal aerial bombing on U.S. soil was in 1921 against Greenwood, a thriving black town in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also affectionately referred to as Little Africa and Black Wall Street, which is just an hour and a half drive from Bing. The Tulsa Massacre was initiated when white settlers in an economically challenged neighboring town enlisted the help of the U.S. National Guard to destroy Greenwood, resulting in the massacre of 300 African people. So when Todd Crabtree, superintendent of Bing School District, states that clothing have gotten people killed, inferring that African culture is dangerous, it is important to remind him that in Oklahoma, violence has historically been carried out by white settlers. The struggle led by these brave students at Bing High School is a struggle that many African children are engaged in internationally, even on the African continent. Around that time that Anwo was organizing against the dress code policy in Pinellas County, Florida, African students attending a South African prep school were protesting the school's policy that criminalized their African hair in Africa. South Africa, just like the US, is a settler colony. Since our struggle in 2016, there have been many more examples of how dress codes target and criminalize African students more than any other group. It is a time it is time that African students, parents, educators, and community members end these assaults by demanding everywhere an end to the criminalization of Africa and African people. ANWO will be assisting students and the community in Bing to build a movement that we believe will change the political landscape for African students in Bing and possibly across the country. The students' multi-year resistance is testimony to the strength of African women and girls. They are committed to seeing this through and pledge to change this policy before graduation so that other black students don't have to go through this same thing. Let's help accomplish this mission. To find out how you can support, contact ANWO, that's ANWO, at info@anwouhuru.org. That's INFO at ANWOUHURU.org. Or you can call 240-326-3959. That's 240-326-3959. So, brothers and sisters, I thought it was a good story. Not good. I keep on using the word good. I thought it was a powerful story to read, and I wanted to highlight it. It's on the Burning Spear. Young people, African women, young African sisters. It has all and has all the elements of of the positive things and that we need to keep pushing for. Young people connecting with their African identity, their persistence. Them standing up for who they are, finding political ways to protest, finding ways to fight against the system. Just trying to validate themselves, building a process around validating themselves. An annual revolutionary organization trying to interjecting in that process. I just thought it was a good, powerful story report to talk about. So I wanted to bring that to light. And brothers and sisters, I just want to say, that we stand in solidarity with those brothers and sisters in Bing, Oklahoma, who are going through the struggle at the moment. Brothers and sisters, the next thing that I want to talk about is I just watched the recent the recent film Dolomite on Netflix, and I found it I found it was a good. I found it. I'd watch it again. Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I liked it. I liked it. It has all the history. Has African people and economic development, the things that we need to do. Yeah, it has a lot of good elements to it. The acting is good. I told my wife as we were watching it. I told her that you get. It seems as if good, you get better as an actor as time goes along. I remember the first I could remember watching Training Day, the first time that I watched Training Day. And the first thing that hit my mind when I saw Denzel in Training Day, I was like, Denzel has been in all of these other movies, and they wait till he's in his older years, as a older person to act such a movie. But I mean, I didn't like the fact that they had to wait until he acted as the devil to give him the award for best actor. But I like the movie. I like the movie. Despite all its contradictions, what it was displaying, I had liked Training Day, but the fact what hit me with Training Day was he had done it at a at a different time in his life, at an older time in his life. And when I was watching Dolomite yesterday, uh, when I was recently watching Dolomite, that's what I thought about Eddie Murphy in his portrayal of Dolomite. He is at a different age than he was back then, but I guess he is at the perfect age to play such a role. And I guess it takes time. You get better with time, eh? That's what they would say. But I enjoyed the movie. With the sauce used to say five mics, eh? I don't want to use no five mics kind of system, but I would say four Africas for sure. You know what I mean? I don't know why not five Africas, but yeah, four Africas. It was. I would watch it again, and I would ask people to definitely check it out, man. Check it out. A lot of history, and yeah, it's good, good, good movie. Uh, what else I want to talk about? I saw, and somebody showed me this, but I saw four, four of them together. The four big dogs, four big, the four big, the big icons from the '90s. You know what I mean? I saw a photo, not a photo. I saw the clip of them together. You know what I mean? As Will Smith, Martin, Eddie Murphy, and Wesley Snipes. That's the two biggest TV icons and the two biggest movie icons from the '90s. The only black of course, African. The only person that we missing is Denzel. And I know I'm saying this from a male perspective, and I apologize to all of my sisters out there. I know this is from totally a male perspective, but that was the only one who was missing out of that reunion that I saw at, I believe, at Tyler Perry's studios. Somebody showed me that at least. That's the only person who missing is Denzel. Yeah, for sure. Because I for sure, I used to watch all of them. All of them. Yeah. So I would say the last thing that I would say, brothers and sisters, I saw this is just a little bit about sports. I saw a young man. I can say it, man. I can say it. I didn't want to say his name, but I don't know why I didn't want to say his name. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about somebody for just talking about them. But MJ, you're wrong. You're wrong, man. You're wrong. No, man. That young man, yeah. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, man. Yeah. I understand what you said. I can't never go against the GOAT now. Come on, man. That's the GOAT. Can't, I don't even know. GOAT? The greatest. You know what I mean? But, uh, but yeah, that young man, yeah, he created his own lane, and he definitely has been a phenomenal player. I know, and I know he feel underrated. You know what I mean? But I know how that go. I know how that go. Yeah, that's all I can say. But yeah, so those are the things that I want to talk about, brothers and sisters. Yeah. Uh, and I just want to say, one Africa, one nation. Uh, keep keep the things that we're going to be doing from the African United Coalition. We're still doing work to assist the persons who were affected by the storm here in the Bahamas. And just want you to stay on the burningspear.com for the work that the African People's Socialist Party is doing. And check out Black Agenda Report. Remember, always check that out. Check out laborstar.org for the trade union news that's happening around the world. And check out Counterpunch, counterpunch.org. Check out Counterpunch. You know, they always got news from the left as well. Brothers and sisters, you know, I know my brothers, the brothers at Black Agenda were celebrating their work that they have been doing, have an anniversary they're celebrating, and Bruce Dixon, the work, celebrating him and the work that he would have done. And I just want to say Uhuru and revolutionary greetings out to them. But Uhuru to all of my brothers and sisters in the Uhuru movement, all of the African People's Socialist Party members straight throughout the world, Europe. I know you are watching some rugby, straight through Europe, straight throughout Africa, from the continent. Uhuru to the brothers and sisters in South Africa, one Africa, one nation. Rastafari out to all of my brothers and sisters out there in the Rastafarian movement. So, brothers and sisters, this is Alex Morley for Beyond the Boundaries, and Uhuru, one Africa, one nation, and I'll be here next Sunday. Uhuru, one Africa, one nation. Uhuru.